All right, Giants Nation, I got a question for you guys. Were you happy that Saquon Barkley was the Giants' identity on offense? Like, did you feel like the Giants were really good with Saquon Barkley as the identity on offense? Because I did not like that era because it relied on your top player being healthy, and your top player is at a position where they don't stay healthy because they take the most amount of hits. And also, when you look at running backs, you can get production out of a committee if you have a respectable run blocking offensive line. So, with that said, I want to talk about RG3's tweet from 2 days ago. My guy said that his takeaway from the offseason for the New York Giants Hardknocks series was that the Giants paid Daniel Jones $40 million a year, lost the identity of the offense by mismanaging the Saquon Barkley situation, and still don't know if Daniel Jones is the quarterback of the future. And you can't do nothing about Daniel Jones getting paid, right? The contract is structured in a way where the guaranteed money is done after next March. And so when he signed the contract, me and all the intelligent New York Giants fans said, well, I'm not sure this is what we would have liked for the Giants to pay Daniel Jones, but at the end of the day, it's not the Deshaun Watson contract where it's fully guaranteed. So if things don't work out, then you know he's gone by March 2025. So RG3's third point about him not being the quarterback of the future is irrelevant because if he plays well, they keep him for another season. And then if they cut him in March of 2026, the dead cap hit is $11 million. This doesn't mean that he plays well and you see a quarterback that could be his replacement and you don't draft him. You probably still can draft that quarterback and groom him behind Daniel Jones and then cut Daniel Jones in March of 2026, which is a nightmare for some of you guys because you have an unhealthy obsession with getting Daniel Jones off the team. I call it unhealthy because I'm not saying you're wrong for being upset with Daniel Jones still being on the team. I'm saying that it's unhealthy because you're foolish and not realizing that when it comes to Daniel Jones being here, it's kind of political. Eli Manning is in this man's corner. All of the former Giants, they're in his corner. Then you got the owner, John Mara, who, they're trying to paint this picture that he was ready to move on from Daniel Jones, and he was not. The guy does not want to move on from Daniel Jones. Joe does not want to move on from Daniel Jones, even if they were able to move up in the draft, which never made sense because the other teams needed quarterbacks. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to start that new quarterback right away. They're still going to start the guy that they're paying the $40 million a year to until he gets hurt or can't play. But RG3, this is the first time where I got to say he is completely off base with this comment. My man said a few months ago, and I said, I got to make a video on this. He said that Daniel Jones was happy that the Giants were winning games. And all the guys that wanted to replace Daniel Jones, except for a few highly intelligent guys, said, no, this is not a good thing because, these guys wanted Caleb, they wanted Daniels, and they said, oh, we're winning games with Tommy DeVito and Tyrod Taylor. Instead of being an asshole like some of you guys and saying, oh, they're playing so much better than Daniel Jones, which was a lie because statistically the Giants quarterbacks were still ass. We finished like 31st in passing. There's nothing to celebrate about. You wanted to replace Daniel Jones and you were celebrating about us winning enough games to not draft his replacement. And RG3 pointed that out. And so RG3 has been right about certain things when it comes to the Giants, but he is completely wrong with this one. I don't know why a lot of these former NFL players, especially the black ones, feel like we should just sign Saquon Barkley because he's the best player. It made no sense. Like, Joe is in the right here. A lot of people saying that if Daniel Jones is trash or if the team is bad, they're going to get fired. I think that would be a mistake in my personal opinion because I get it. A lot of people are going to say, well, maybe if they didn't go with Daniel Jones, it wouldn't be this bad. But I think it would still be bad. The Giants are bad, guys. I know you guys think that it's all Daniel Jones, but no, this team outside of the defense and Malik Neighbors, I don't see anything that is telling me that the Giants, they're going to be this good team. Even if you were to replace Daniel Jones with Drake May or even Caleb Williams, the team would not be good, guys. I'm sorry to tell you, we're not a quarterback away. So we're still rebuilding. So it would be terrible to fire these guys. You get rid of Jones, though. You definitely, at this point, you got to cut that umbilical cord next March if he was just so garbage this next upcoming season. And you give him another year and you draft your quarterback and go from there. But continue to build this team like Joe's trying to do, because we don't need to have a super talented quarterback to have a good team, guys. Look at the Cleveland Browns. But that's all I'm going to say on this, man. I think RG3 was wrong here. This might be the first time I'm actually disagreeing with this man. I also want to add that there were a couple of Giants fans in his comment section telling him that the money that we were going to give Saquon Barkley, we used it to get 2 offensive linemen and Brian Burns. And I think that was a much better decision than keeping Saquon Barkley, who could potentially get hurt again and derail our season again. Because, look, guys, I'm not saying that Saquon is the only reason why the Giants didn't win more games, like Saquon getting hurt. But he definitely, his presence last year was enough to not allow us to lose enough games to replace Daniel Jones. So, something you got to consider. But tell me if you agree with me or RG3. Maybe you're a Benedict Arnold-ass fan and you agree with RG3 because low-key you're a Commanders fan. Or you're a real Giants fan and you're saying, yeah, man, you're 100% right. The people in RG3's comment section who are Giants fans are 100% right. I'm just kidding. You're not a Benedict Arnold if you agree with RG3. I also agree with him sometimes, but he is completely wrong here.